This video is for my first aid animal emergency video. So as we can see, Harley has been hit by a car and she's had a terrible accident. She's dying. First of all, before we do anything, we're going to assess the hazards. So the first hazard that we can see is Harley. She has been hit by a car. She's in a lot of pain. This can make animals become very aggressive. Because they're in pain, and this can cause them to become more aggressive. The second hazard could be if there were more cars, like if the animal's been hit in the middle of the road and traffic is still coming, then that could be another hazard that you need to watch out for. To minimize these hazards, the first thing that you could do is ensure that somebody stands at the top of the road to notify people that are still driving on the road that there's been an animal hit. Inform them that there's an injury and make sure that they go slow, and just make sure that they're informed, because you can't help the animal if you're also injured. The second way we could minimize these hazards is ensuring that when I approach Harley, I'm very cautious and I do it very slowly. So she can see all my movements. If she can't move her neck because she's in pain, I want to be able to, for her to see me. So I'm just going to talk to her, stroke her head, make sure she knows everything's okay. If the animal is really aggressive, it might be a better option to wait till a more experienced vet has arrived. Another way we could ensure that Harley stays less stressed is by covering her head with anything that you have available. So if you have a jumper or a towel available, I'm just going to use a jumper because that would be the most realistic scenario. So we're just going to use the jumper to cover Harley's head so she doesn't get stressed. First, I'm going to start with Harley's heart rate. So to do this, I just lift up her back leg and feel her pulmonary artery and count how many beats she has over 15 seconds, and then times that by 4. Harley's heart rate is around 65, which is normal for dogs. Dogs' heart rates are usually 60 to 145 beats per minute. So she would have, if she would have a bit of a slower heart rate, it's probably because she's in shock, or even a fast one because she's stressed in this situation, but she has a pretty normal one. But in this situation, we would know that's why. Another way I can assess Harley's condition is by her respiratory rate. So I can do this by watching her chest rise and fall. This is what you would do if the animal was too aggressive to come near, just to make sure that her breathing is alright. So because Harley's been hit by a car, her breathing is really quick and shallow, which is very normal. She's also kind of panting, which is very normal for an animal that's been hit by a car. So if it's safe to do so, you can take the towel off the animal's head and you can check their mucous membrane, which will show you their hydration, and with capillary rate, if it comes back slower, it can indicate whether the animal's in shock. Of course, if the animal's in pain, it's going to be a very difficult task to open and put your hand in their mouth. Just lifting Harley's gum, we can just press down, and Harley's gum was normal, but for the video we'll say that her gum was very slow to come back, so that means Harley is now in shock, which is not good. So we need to be a lot quick now with how we deal with Harley and her situation. If I pressed down and Harley's gum was tacky and dry, that could show that she's dehydrated. Another way we could test if she's dehydrated is pinching the skin at the back of Harley's neck, but we've already checked, so we're just going to leave her now. So because Harley's been hit by a car and her capillary refill is really slow and her gums are very white and pale because she's in shock and she's been hit by a car, this would require Harley to be immediately checked out by a vet. It could indicate that there's a really serious problem like shock or blood loss or something more internally wrong. She could be bleeding inside. All of these things require Harley to see a vet because they're very serious. So when moving Harley to try to get her into a car or somewhere that we can get her to a vet, we need to be really careful so she's not moving and her neck is out straight, so she has an open way for her to breathe. So I would put Harley on her side onto a flat board or a blanket. So as you can see, Harley's been placed now onto a blanket ready to be transported, and I put her head onto a towel, or you can put it onto a jumper or whatever, just to keep her airway open while she's being moved. You would need assistance in doing this, so you would want to carefully pick up the blanket. You would need multiple people, obviously, to lift her up into the car to avoid any injuries. Once she's in the car, if the drive to the vet isn't like a fast one, you might need to place more blankets underneath Harley's hips so there's no pressure on any of her nerves. And because Harley is in shock due to being hit by a car, we would need to regulate her body temperature. So we would do this by just, once we've lifted her into the car, we would wrap Harley into the blanket and turn the temperature up on the car to try and regulate her body temperature. While we're moving, we need to also ensure that we stay away from Harley's head while we're doing all of this, because it's a very sensitive area, and if at any point we hurt Harley, the first reaction is her wanting to snap at us or harm us in a way that's just her straight away response to an injury being hurt. Thank you, Harley, for being a very good dead dog. You're so good. Say bye to the camera. Bye.